Hi everybody, it's Miss Billingsley. I hope you are having an awesome day. Today I'm going to try to keep it as short and sweet as possible, but we do need to review a little bit before we dive into our next standard because it's all about graphing linear equations. So there's two forms that I want to review with you today. The first one, so you can go ahead and label your notes with me. If you have graph paper, that might be helpful. If not, no big deal. Don't worry about it too much. We can go on without it. So anyway, let's get started. The first form I want to review with you today is slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form uses two things, and good news is that they're both in the name. One of them is slope and the other one is the intercept, and we just have to know which intercept they're talking about. So slope-intercept form is y equals, and I'm going to use different colors so we can keep it nice and organized, m times x. X is just a variable, so I'm going to leave it as red, and then plus b, which b represents our y-intercept on the graph. So let's label those things. M is our slope. One way we learn slope is rise over run. Okay, so rise over run. Another way to say that is the change in the y, and the symbol for change is delta, over the change in the x's. So delta y over delta x, those are both valid ways of writing slope. Okay, the b is the y-intercept on our graph, so the place where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, sometimes we're given a line and we're asked to write the equation from it. Sometimes we're given an equation and we're asked to put it onto the graph, so we're going to do both today. If you need to pause and draw or sketch out my example, then do so. If not, then let's dive right in. So first I'm going to start by identifying the y-intercept. So when I look on the y-axis, and I'm going to highlight that in my lovely green color, the y-axis, I notice that there is an intersection right here, or an intercept, and that is what we're going to use as b, and the value there is at -2. So for this one, b is going to be -2. Next, I need to identify my slope. So I'm going to identify two good points, nothing that's in between any boxes, but I see that these two are two good points. They cross at great crosshairs, and I'm going to count the rise between them and the run between them. So I'm going to start with my left point. Looks like it goes up 2 full boxes and over 1 full box. So the rise is 2, the run is 1. So when I write that in my slope formula, rise over run, I would get 2 over 1, which we know simplifies to just 2. Okay, so if I'm going to write the equation for this, y equals mx plus b, I now know that m is 2 times x, which is always there, it's our variable, and then b is -2, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2. So y equals 2x minus 2 is my equation. Alrighty. Sometimes we're given an equation and we're asked to actually graph it, so we can practice that real fast. Let's try y equals -1/2 x minus, nope, let's do a plus this time, plus 2. I know I'm using lots of 2's, not sure why. Okay, again, let's start with our y-intercept. So I notice that my y-intercept in this case is 2. So I'm going to start by putting my pink dot on 2. And then I'm going to use my slope, which is -1/2. And I'm going to use that to get to my next point. So from my pink dot, I'm going to count down 1 full box and over 2 full boxes. Okay, so my next point would be here. I can continue this pattern all the way across the graph as far as possible. If I run out of space, I can even go backwards. I can count back 2 from the intercept and then up 1. And I can keep going until I run out. And then I will use my ruler to make a nice straight line. Or you can cheat like me. Okay, so we have done both ways for slope-intercept form. Let's take a look at point-slope form. So pause here if you need to catch up with me. If not, let's keep moving along. All right, number 2 is point-slope form. Okay, and again, just like it sounds in the name, we need 2 things. We need a point and we need a slope. So let's go ahead and write the general form. We take y minus, and I'm going to use lots of different colors here, y1, which is the y coordinate of our point, and that's equal to m. Let's see if we can use the same colors. What color was m? M was purple. Okay, and then times x minus x1, which is the x coordinate of our point. Sorry guys, I know I'm being a perfectionist. Let's change this one to purple. Oh, of course. Okay. So, first thing we need to do is identify what is that point that they're talking about. Okay, that point is actually a coordinate point, so a dot on the graph with the coordinates x1, y1. So, if we have any point on the graph, doesn't have to be an intercept, but it can be. It can be an x-intercept or a y-intercept or any point on the entire coordinate plane. If we have that and we can, and we're given the slope, then we can write an equation for it. So again, here, m is our slope. And then this is a point on the graph that the line goes through. The line goes through that point somewhere on the graph. Okay. Let's start by writing one of our own. So if I give you the point 3, 4, and I give you the slope m equals -1/3, let's pause and see if we can write the equation for this scenario. Okay. Example number 1, we are going to take our coordinate point 3, 4 and our slope -1/3 and write a point slope form equation for it, and then we can practice graphing. Okay, first I'm going to take y, which is always there. So everything in red is always in the formula. So y minus, and let's go ahead and label our stuff. Y1 is going to be the y coordinate of the point, which is 4. And then x1 is going to be the x coordinate of the point, which in this case is 3. So I'm going to take y minus 4, because 4 is y1, equal to my slope, which is -1/3 times, and I'm going to use parentheses here, x minus x1, which is 3 in this case. Okay, so here we have a point slope form equation for a graph that has the point 3, 4 on it and has a slope of -1/3. So let's go ahead and put that on our graph and see what that looks like. Okay, here's my point at 3, 4. And then using my slope, -1/3, I would go down 1/3. And I would end up right here. I can repeat that process, but backwards. So I can go back 3 and then up 1 and continue in the other direction. Then I'll use my ruler to make a nice straight line through each of those points. Okay, so this time we don't start with the y-intercept. As you can see, we kind of have discovered the y-intercept in this case. Doesn't always happen that way. But for this one, the b, which is the y-intercept, would be at 5. Okay. Okay, I think that is all we need to know. If you have any questions, definitely email one of us and let us know, or join the Hangout at 1 and 2 every single day. All right, guys, have a good day.